My next guest is leading the Trump team recount effort in Georgia. So will the state go red despite officials there fighting every step? And what may be the outcome of the two runoff battles that could determine who controls the Senate? Georgia Congressman Doug Collins joins me now to discuss it all. All right, good evening, Congressman. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. All right, so you're wearing two hats tonight. On the one hand, you are in charge of coordinating resources for the recount for the presidential team in Georgia. How's that going?
Well, it's going, right now we're having the recount being done, and that is counting every paper ballot, comparing it back to the machines. But I think there's also something we need to talk about here, though, as well. This is just one part of this effort, because we do have a problem down here, and you've mentioned it briefly before, and that is this consent decree down here that basically gutted our signature verification process and basically opened the door for potential fraud to be conducted. And this is something that we're still fighting to get answers on at the same point as we're continuing to fight on the recount to make sure that every legal and vote was counted and every illegal vote was thrown out, and we're continuing to do that. So it's a long process, and we're still fighting for the president to make sure every legal vote counts.
Okay, so that is, in fact, the subject of a lawsuit where the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, is sued in his capacity as Secretary of State by Lynn Wood. And it's a very interesting lawsuit that was filed yesterday, as I understand it, saying that Raffensperger, who's an avowed anti-Trumpist, agreed with Stacey Abrams to interfere with the ballots and how they're counted. That's my understanding. Maybe you could explain it more. When he didn't have that right as Secretary of State, that under the Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, only the legislature can change that. What exactly did he do?
What exactly happened was there were several lawsuits that had been brought after the 2018 election, and this was done this year in March when they signed this consent decree to dismiss with those suits getting ready for this next election cycle. Two things actually happened. Number one is it made it basically they limited it now to where you had to verify the signatures, but under the consent decree it actually outlined the fact that any signature would do, meaning that the same person who would send in a request for a ballot could actually have that signature matched to the ballot that they received. That's actually not a verification that's actually useful in the long term, because if it doesn't match the original person's signature on the original registration to vote, then you got a problem. But with this, it's just a problem. You go back to the whole thing. So this is the problem that it has. And then also we sent out, for the first time ever in Georgia, we sent out a request for a ballot to every registered voter. There were some people who got more than one request. This was a problem that developed over time, but it also was one that is hampering efforts right now to make sure that those who requested the ballots were actually the people that needed to have it. We've asked for that from the Secretary of State, and we're still waiting for that.
Well, you know what's amazing is that if I say that I want a ballot and a ballot is sent to me, they don't compare my signature with what's on the voter registration roll. So as long as the signature on the outside matches the inside, then it's okay, having nothing to do with if you're fraudulent, the real voter's signature. And then the inside is separated from the outside. So are they on the inside even signed? Is the ballot even signed, the one on the inside?
No, Judge, that's what even makes it even worse, because here in Georgia, we don't have a voter ID attached to a ballot. So once they're taken out of the envelopes, they go into the stack with everybody else. So, yeah, we've got a problem down here. Legislature's going to have to address. The courts are going to have to address. You talked about the lawsuit that was filed. That'll be something that's going to have to be dealt with as well. But in the meantime, we're still down here fighting to make sure that we have every legal vote counted.
Wow. And what about the Senate races? You know, the talk that people are going to move in and that, you know, they're going to pay for people to move, which, of course, is illegal. You can't pay people to vote in an election. I hope they understand that's criminal. What's going on down there?
Well, the leadership down here, the Attorney General and others, have put out notice that you cannot just move in here, that the intent basis in Georgia of moving here, it has to be permanent intent. In other words, you have to move down here with intent to be permanently resided in the state of Georgia. Look, this is just Democrats being Democrats. They know that these two Senate seats are the catch in this election. Schumer's already made it very clear, but I'm going to tell you right now, Perdue and Loeffler need to be elected. Republicans need to keep these two seats because the alternative, Ossoff and Warnock, is is ridiculous. So when you look at their views, Georgians are going to see through this. We're just going to have to fight through the Democratic clutter that's coming into the state of Georgia right now.
All right. Congressman Doug Collins, thanks so much for being with us tonight.